Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 668 on Tuesday, the 27th of January, 2026. Hello, I'm Alan. And yes, he's not here this week. He's been off doing UK Car of the Year judging panelist stuff. So he'll be back next week. It's a little bit like last week where I was at a launch and then couldn't get back home or anywhere reasonable in time to record. That's what's happened this week with Andrew. Quick disclaimer at the start: if the audio is a bit rubbishy, not as good as usual, I'm really sorry. I am in a hotel room, so it's not the usual setup, and it's a Nordic hotel room, so soft furnishings are in their absence, so everything's a bit echoey, and there's a fan that I can't stop and all sorts of stuff. I'm doing the best I can. Hopefully most of that will just disappear in the edit, but I'm getting my apologies in right now. Anyway, this week, I wonder how much more integrated one car group can actually get. In new car news, you'll listen to me question if one car will actually be any good. And in points of interest, you'll be shown a new way to spend your money as if you need any more. If you are a car person. No follow-up this week, so we're straight into new news, and the first story is from evpowered.co.uk, and don't forget that all the stories that we use and all of our sources are listed in detail in our show notes every week. So if you want to find out more about a topic, you can go to our website and you can, or you can look in your podcast player and you can see the show notes, and hopefully there should be a link which links you to it. We definitely write the links in. Whether people strip them out is a different matter. Anyway, Germany is going to put in an electric car grant to boost EV sales. It's going to be of up to €6,000. So in total, the amount available to spend is about €3 billion. And when I say it's up to €6,000, it's actually between €1,500 and €6,000. And that's going to depend on a number of factors. And that includes the vehicle's size, the buyer's earnings, and the size of their family. So Andrew is all in favour of this. He and I have discussed this. He's all in favour of this because there's a certain level of means testing that goes into this. And as far as he's concerned, because this is his constant one, and I don't disagree with him, is that really lots of the electric car grant just goes to helping rich people afford stuff that they would have bought anyway or probably didn't need. Germany, by the way, is the UK's largest EV market. Volkswagen and BMW dominate the market there. In Volkswagen's case, to the tune of 102,339 EVs last year, and for BMW, 51,878. Volkswagen's top sellers include the ID.7, ID.3, and ID.4 and ID.5, but EV sales in Germany slumped to 27% of the market, and the country has missed its EV sales targets on multiple occasions. So this is an attempt to try and, I was going to say drive it in the right direction, but that would have been far too bad a pun, even for me, especially to make on purpose. So yes, so this is going to be introduced relatively soon. There is a line at the end of this article. Paradoxically, Germany was one of the leading voices in lobbying the European Union to water down its plan to end the sale of pure internal combustion engine cars by 2035. So yes, a bit of a turnaround by the German government on this one, but it makes up Germany's synonymous with building cars. One of the things about this grant, by the way, is there doesn't seem to be any control in limiting where the money goes to. It's not French level of protectionism here. So it doesn't have to be spent on French cars or German cars in this case. It can just be electric vehicles, as far as we understand. Oh, one other little thing. the German government has extended the German EV road tax exemption through to December 2035. Next up, staying in Germany, and it's to Volkswagen. Volkswagen is creating a new group board of management. Yes, they have decided that they're going to centralize their decision making even more. But this group board of management only covers, say, its core brands. So it's for Volkswagen passenger cars, Skoda, Seat Cupra, and Volkswagen commercial vehicles. And they are expecting this restructuring to generate savings of 1 billion euros in production alone by 2030, partly through the elimination of managerial positions. Now, this puzzles me. So the article here is from electdrive.com. There's this graphic PowerPoint slide further down which says Brand Group Core Board of Management. And what it's showing is that the board of management is the brand CEOs, as I said, Volkswagen passenger cars, Volkswagen commercial vehicles, Skoda, Seat, and Cupra. And then the brand group core functions: finance, procurement, production, and technical development. Now, this puzzles me. And this puzzles me because the whole shared services thing it's been on the thing that people have been doing for a decade anyway, in most industries. And I thought that Volkswagen had done that. I thought they'd centralised their procurement. I thought they'd centralised some of that stuff. And it may well be that they have. What I see that's different here that I wouldn't normally expect to see is production and technical development grouped in as one of the core, as two of the core functions. A bit of me would expect to see, okay, well, Volkswagen passenger cars does their production, Volkswagen commercial vehicles does their production, Skoda does their production, Seat and Cupra do their production, similarly with technical development. Well, it actually seems, if I put my little enterprise architecture consultant hat on, said, okay, what they've actually done is they've moved themselves to being far more capability aligned, and saying, okay, look, here are the functions, these are specific things that we as a business can do, and we will then apply those individually to the appropriate brand as and where is necessary. Bit of a worry though, if you've got the same people doing all the same development across multiple brands, are they not all going to start feeling incredibly similar? Are they not going to become even more homogenous than they already are? And the other question is, how on earth has Audi escaped this? But I suppose that Audi has its own little group of brands, and that's why you don't see Bentley, and you don't see Ducati, and you don't see Lamborghini on this particular chart. But no, some movement taking place at Volkswagen. I imagine the outcome will be job losses. And well, it said that already, really, through managerial positions. I think if you're on the factory floor, the world is going to shift above you. You're not necessarily going to care. Somebody might give you a new T-shirt at some point, and that's where it'll go. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens, and whatever happens, I hope it's a success anyway. Volkswagen has, of course, retained its place in Europe as being the largest car maker, but there's a new incomer for number 2. Whereas formerly it was Toyota who was the second largest car seller, maker, brand by volume, then Renault has had a 7.4% uptick in sales during 2025, and that now puts it at the most popular car maker in Europe. Bosses at Renault are attributing that mostly to the success of their multi-powertrain strategy and the fact that they have hybrids, they have EVs, they have pure internal combustion engines as and where are appropriate. In Europe last year, Renault sold 750,600 cars and 245,000 vans, pushing them just over the million sales mark. So yeah, just above. I mean, Toyota and Lexus sold 1.14 million sales, so only a little bit behind. Only a little bit behind where Renault are. Overall, globally, by the way, Renault delivered 1.6 million vehicles. So of course, they've got quite a big. They've still got a presence in South America, obviously in Africa, North Africa, as well. And I'm sure across into the Middle East. Renault's full hybrid sales were up 17% in Europe, making 287,000 units. The Symbioz being a major contributor to that. The EV sales soared by 72.2%, so that made up just over a fifth of the total sales. That comes a lot of that success off the back of the Renault 5 Super Mini. It's already sold more than 100,000 units since it was launched in 2024. It's not just the best-selling EV in France, but also Europe's most popular B-segment EV, according to Autocar. Not a lot of B-segment EVs, but around. But no, that's great, and they're looking forward to that continuing with the new Twingo, the Megane, Renault 4, etc., etc., etc. I hadn't really seen a 4 in the flesh before this afternoon. Well, I'd seen it on the road, but I hadn't seen one up close. It turns out that where I'm in Copenhagen, there's a shopping centre just over there. And there is a Renault brand centre. There's a BYD one as well, but there's the Renault one that caught my eye first. It came to first, and they had a 5, a 4, and something else. I can't remember what in there to show off that you could go in and have a look around, and I think you could arrange test drives and all that kind of thing in there. So yeah, lots of stuff going on at Renault. Lots of improvements. Again, introducing new vehicles in South Korea. It was an 11.7% sales increase in markets outside of Europe. So yeah, outside Europe, 621,000 vehicles as well. So pretty cool, pretty impressive. Well done, Renault. I mentioned BYD a couple of minutes ago, and actually I'd forgotten the next story is all about them. They have boosted their battery warranty. So they now have BYD EVs, again, 8-year EV battery warranty. It's 8 years or 155,000 miles. They cover even, it was previously 93,000, which is pretty good. But the cover also includes all the fully electric and the plug-in hybrid vehicles as well. They claim on this, or what this new increased limit means, is that if the battery state of health drops below 70% in the first 155,000 miles, BYD will rectify and sort it completely completely free of charge. That's pretty impressive. You know, it's not that long ago that many naysayers were saying, well, if the battery goes in one of these things, it's £25,000 to replace it. Which is true if the battery that was coming out didn't have residual value, which they most definitely do, especially as, you know, people are increasingly looking for power banks for homes, and just domestic energy storage and all these kind of things, which is a perfectly good second or even third life for some of these batteries. And of course, the batteries can be refurbished now. But yes, it's impressive there. BYD upgrading that. If you wonder why the numbers seem funny, it's 8 years or 250,000 kilometres, and it is retroactive. If you already have one of the vehicles with these batteries, which pretty much most of them, most of the Blade batteries. So it's a Dolphin Surf, Dolphin Seal, Atto 2, Atto 3, Seal U, and Sea Lion 7. Then they're already covered by this, and your warranty will extend as a result. So that's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. And yeah, hopefully they don't have to use it very much, or hopefully the owners don't have to use it very much. But again, that's a really great thing to give people belief in the product and in the brand that's coming through. It's one of the challenges right at the moment. I've said it before on the podcast. There are so many new brands coming through, entering the UK market. How do you know which ones are going to be around in 4 or 5 years? This kind of thing helps. It helps an awful lot. One last new news story, and that is the announcement that Scotland is going to put a further £85 million of funding in for EV incentives and charging. That's all part of a wider £4.3 billion to be spent on public and low carbon transport. Hopefully public low carbon transport will be included in all of that. People aren't really sure what that means. The new draft budgets, according to Electrive, simply states that the government plans to invest £85 million in low carbon programmes, including expanding public EV charging infrastructure and supporting zero emission vehicles. Nice statement. It's great. Nobody really knows quite what that means yet. But yes, the idea is that this sits alongside the £360 million allocated for sustainable modes of transport, which is walking, wheeling and cycling for shorter journeys. Hopefully that means more cycle paths in useful places as well. Sorry, cycle paths are all very well, but whenever they're in a completely ridiculous place, then they're not. What's the point? It's a waste of money. That's the right. It's like we say about chargers. It's having the right thing in at the right time. That's all of the new news for this week. I think we've got a couple more stories we wanted to keep over, so we'll keep them. We'll cover them next week when the two of us are here, because it's more interesting that way, to be honest. So that being the case, it leads us into Guilt Minute, a quick break in the show where we ask for a tad of financial support to keep the lights on and the hosting running. If you feel that Motoring Podcast is worth a small consideration every month, then you can become a patron. Different levels of patron include different levels of commitment from us to you, including being able to watch the show recorded live. We also have a small range of merchandise in our spring store, from stickers to mugs and t-shirts. If you don't have any spare cash, and we completely understand, then you can help us by following for free from a podcast player to receive every show as they're released, and by liking and rating the show in whatever way your podcast supplier lets you. If you've done all of that, and some of you do, so thank you very much, then the last thing you can do is to recommend us to your friends or colleagues. And thank you to those of you who do. Thank you to those of you who subscribe on YouTube, obviously Patreon, and etc. etc. It is, we do see it, we do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. New car news then. First up, the new Volvo EX60. It has the headline figure here is that this is all the new platform. It doesn't really have any relationship with the previous EX. Did I say XC? I meant to say EX60, just in case I misspoke. But it's on a new platform, which supposedly revolutionises both the way Volvo builds cars and their technological capabilities. That's either a great sounding sentence or it fills you with the fear. And I have no way to tell you which it should be. The headline number, though, is 503 miles. Yes, that's quite far on one charge. That is longer than most people's bladders. Apart from a few people, of course, on social media. But, 503 miles is really pretty impressive. And that puts it well ahead of its chief rivals, the BMW iX3 and things like the new Mercedes-Benz GLC EQ. It doesn't come cheaper, though. In the UK, when it's meant to arrive in September, prices are going to range from £56,850 to £70,360. So yes, it will be the electric equivalent to the XC60. XC60 will remain on sale with mild and plug-in hybrids. and powertrains as well. Big worry about these. I don't know. I need Volvo's operating system and the technological part of this that they do try and start to show off an awful lot and talk about an awful lot. It's been a problem lately. People who bought some of the smaller electric Volvos have discovered that, and that was not a great success. Been other challenges with sort of screens crashing across the range for many years. I really hope this new platform includes kind of new infrastructure and a new operating system for all of that, and then there is a chance that it will work. It's very hard to. It's very hard for us to recommend Volvos to anyone because we've heard so many horror stories from real life owners out there, which have then been backed up by speaking to motoring colleagues. So I really, really hope they fix that, because this is a good-looking thing. It really is a good-looking thing. It has the correct number of windows, the correct number of wheels. But no, joking apart, it is a handsome-looking vehicle. It's about 5 meters long, so it is fairly long. And there's a lot of its structure comes from the battery itself. There's a joke here from someone. Oh, it's Håkan Samuelsson, the CEO of Volvo, who says the car without batteries is a Fred Flintstone car. It's totally open, and that helps with safety and cost and all sorts of other good things. There will be a standard EX60. There will also be a cross-country one with bespoke wheel design, skid plates, widened arches, and a 20mm suspension lift. I really hope it includes a little bit of cladding in there, because cladding is always good. Also comes in a unique shade of frost green, inspired by Scandinavian nature. Okay, there's not a lot of green around at the moment. But as well as the cross-country, there will be 3 other trims: Core, Plus, and Ultra. And they're also trying to make the buying process as simple as possible. So don't expect a whole load of options. Expect there to be some stuff waiting around that you can then basically buy from stock, a little bit towards the American style. As far as powertrains, to achieve that kind of range, the rear-driven P6 entry-level vehicle comes with 369 horsepower. And if you go for the P12 all-wheel drive, which is the most powerful Volvo yet, then it's 671 brake horsepower. It means it's as quick as an Audi RS3 to 62 miles an hour with just 3.9 seconds. Mid-rung, there's a mid-rung in between that, the P10, which is 503 horsepower. Yes. Which should be more than most. Other thing, I've got some notes here from Andrew too, by the way, because he wrote all the show notes and was like, here's things I've been thinking about. And so I got a bonus epistle, which I appreciate. It's pointing out the button-free cockpit on the EX60. We talked about it the other week. Euro NCAP are now going to crack down on this kind of thing and insist on buttons for many things. So that's probably going to affect its Euro NCAP score. If you don't like buttons, then this will be fine for you. If you do want some kind of tactile, constantly located and findable by touch UI and user interface and user experience, then you probably won't be a massive fan of that. Really interesting to see what happens. Of course, there's a paragraph here and said, Volvo said that bringing Gemini, so that's Google's AI engine, into the car means drivers and passengers can have more conversational interactions with the car, rather than needing to remember specific keywords and instruction phases. And you can use it to find hotel bookings in an email inbox, for example. Why you can't just do that from your phone anyway, and why you must do that when you're driving, is a completely different question. It does question whether or not you're actually concentrating on the whole driving and the roads type of thing. Anyway, I shall now stop moaning about Volvos and too much technology and all of that kind of thing, and I shall leap towards the Leapmotor B05. It's a competitor for the Kia EV4. It once again has a minimalist cabin. See everything I've just said about Volvo, apply that here as well. And it has a 286 mile range, which you would think would be plenty for many of us. Yeah, nobody's announced the pricing or an arrival date, but it is expected to come in at under £30,000 at the lower end of the range, which makes it cheaper than its competitors. Leapmotor, again, remember, as far as importing into the UK, is all run by Stellantis. So again, it's one of those ones, a bit like BYD. It's one of those ones you would consider because there is a chance of longevity there, especially Stellantis stuff. People in North America will hear me say Stellantis and longevity and probably have a good old chuckle and go, yeah, it doesn't look like it. But here in Europe, it's a slightly different story. Last new car news. This we've been doing the stories from Evo. The videos have been doing the rounds of the social media for a few weeks longer. The Encor Series 1. So it's the carbon fibre bodied 400 horsepower twin turbo V8 homage to the original S1 Lotus Esprit, yours for at least £500,000. It's about £430,000 plus a donor Esprit V8 to go underneath it all. The Esprit V8 alone will cost you £30,000 to £60,000, and then there's all the various taxes. So hence that's how the £500,000 is reached. What it is the idea of an S1 Lotus Esprit kind of distilled down. And it manages not to be a pastiche, actually. It's very, very interesting. Lots of parts have been upgraded, of course, as 6-point piston front calipers from AP Racing. The billet machined aluminium wheels, 17-inch at the front, 18 at the rear, etc., etc., etc. So, and one of the nice things actually about that is that the wheels don't look too big. So often on resto mods, the wheels just look, they're too wide, they're too shiny, they're too tall, there's not enough tyre. These guys have managed to avoid all of that. The fact that they've involved a lot of former Group Lotus employees has probably helped as well. But generally it's Giugiaro's original shape with a lot of more, the detailing is more modern. So the headlamps are a slimmer line, the rear lights are sort of sat in LED and very, very streamlined and thin, and I believe they're milled from solid acrylic and or polycarb or whatever, and that kind of thing. So it's that kind of thing. The devil is in the detail, and that's what seems to have been done here. The first sort of pre-prod, the vehicles they've been showing off are white and very much in sort of a Spy Who Loved Me spec. My only thing is I would like some kind of contrast down the side, just to sort of emphasise where that body seam is. But that's a matter of personal choice. I think I said that on social media some time ago. But it's kind of the original Esprit size, all these things. Interior, of course, you can have whatever the heck you want in the interior. The one shown here has a lovely wooden gear knob. It has sort of plaid seats, all these kind of things that you could get in Esprits, and I think that's a really nice thing to bring forward as a homage. I like this. I like this a lot. I don't know if I could ever bring myself to spend the money on it, but I really like it. And even the little flat, what I like is stuff like even the little flat display that replaces all the dials, which does have, dials on it rather than whatever. Even the shape of that and the surround mimics the shape of the original cars of the Esprits, the touch panels and whatever else that form the buttons. They're in kind of the same place as they would be on the original. There's some really nice inspired takes throughout this. Really, really tidy. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Super cool. Into points of interest, and this week's lunchtime read it's one from sort of the middle of January. It was written by a US journalist. She used to be an automotive journalist, but she does that much less now. It's a really cool photojournalist book, a photojournal style book recently. It's Victoria Scott. She was blindsided by a press release, I think, is what happened. And the resulting article called "All Right, Which Rich..." Oh, he's going to censor me. "Which rich people commissioned these Rolls-Royces," and the word is not people, then yes. It was powered by Rolls-Royce's, as she says, Rolls-Royce's version of their Spotify Wrapped, or as they call it, Bespoke 2025 Trends and Innovations. And sort of goes through some of these and just the ridiculousness of them when the world is the world, and just in some places where it's great to have money, but wouldn't it be good to have some taste as well, type of things, especially the gamer one. Have a look, have a read. It's really nice. It's really well written. It's really good, as Victoria stuff generally is. I say generally. It is. It's not. There's no generally about it. So do go have a read of that, because it's well worth 5 to 10 minutes of your time, and some cool pictures straight from Rolls-Royce as well. List of the week this week comes from Haggerty. It's by Nathan Chadwick. And it's titled Tiny But Mighty, Titchy 1990s Japanese Gems. There's a whole list of them. Of course there's a list of them. That's why it's a list of the week, for goodness sakes, Alan. It's been a very long day. Lots of K cars, many of which you've heard of, some of which you might not have. But from these tiny sports cars, I'm going to choose the Honda Beat. I have always liked the Honda Beat. I would love to try a Honda Beat at some point. Goodness knows quite how. But yes, I just liked it. Tiny little mid-engine. It was one of those times where I was as a child. So this was like, when was it launched? 1989-ish? I think it was about that, 88, 89. I had drawn something which was very similar to this. And then like 2 weeks later, my copy of Autocar appeared in the post, and there was the Honda Beat, which was almost the same as what I'd drawn, and that made me all incredibly happy. And to be honest, that's where a lot of my love affair from the Honda Beat comes from. It was just that absolute coincidence. But yeah, really cool. I really want to try that. Loads of other fun stuff in here too. Most of which wasn't sold in the UK. Some of it was slightly, but not all of it. It's a good one. Go take your pick. Let us know what you liked, and let the folks at Haggerty know as well, because then they'll keep on writing lists and commissioning articles like that, which we can then share with you, which then you can like, and so they're like, we tell you about it to keep motoring journalists in jobs. No, because we find it interesting and cool and inspirational. And finally this week comes from Petroblog, the wonderful Major Gav, and it is titled Hot Wheels launches a brick-built Honda Civic EF and S2000. So it turns out that Hot Wheels have their own plastic block building kits. I assume they can do that because the one that we're all familiar with has gone out of, the patent's expired or something, so they can start to to leverage that. But this Mattel Brick Shop Speed Series, they've launched 2 132 scale buildable sets under that in the past. A custom 1990 Honda Civic EF and a 2007, oh gee, is it really that old, Honda S2000. So yes, one step, oh yes, it is, isn't it? That's cool. It's one step on from the well-known plastic brick building company that I was dared not to name. That, folks, I think is it for this week. It's kind of short. I'm sorry, you've had two of those in a row. But yeah, just busyness, and to be honest, the reason there's only been one of us each time for a change has been because of the podcast, and because we've each been off doing things that will turn into podcasts and content, and hopefully stuff that you can enjoy in the relatively near future. No special announcements this week, so don't forget that between now and next week you can give us any feedback and share your thoughts with the show at motoringpodcast.com on Blue Sky, at Motoring Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and on the contact page of www.motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon, and please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, definitely YouTube, or however your podcast apps lets you do such a thing. Those of you do, thank you very, very much. I do try to acknowledge, comment, like anything in the appropriate manner that comes through that way. Best way to get in touch with Andrew, probably going to be LinkedIn still. I get occasional rants about stuff he's seen on there. So that tells me that he's most likely to be there. So do look for him as Andrew Clues on there, or try Cracked Windscreen on Blue Sky, but you're less likely to get hold of him by that route. As for me, Blue Sky's about best, where I'm at AJP Bradley, that's BRADLEY.bsky.social. We will both be back next week. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley. All the hard work in the background has been done by Andrew Clues. And safe motoring.